We're all set up.
Hi, guys.
We figured today is going to be kind of a loaded topic, so we thought we might as well get full exposure. So if you're not on Instagram, then you can watch us on Facebook.
Yes. So welcome, everyone, to ClassyGlam Thursdays. Christina and I have never been nervous to go on camera and talk to you guys. We've always been so excited, and we're always like, oh, my God, we're going to talk about this today. And we had something different planned completely. And what ended up happening is we went to, basically, if you guys remember, last week was International Women's Day when we did this show. And we went to an event after our show for International Women's Day that was held in San Francisco at Equinox Sports Center by Love Shanti, Chantel, who is a fashion blogger and model in the city. Yes. And we just had the most blowing away experience. Let's put it that way. Like, we were blown away with the type of people we met, the women in the industry, the struggles, the strides, the conversations. And it brought us to a meeting that we had yesterday, which I'll let Christina tell you about.
So Shikha and I and Camilla Richardson, she's the owner of Rich and Riot, we went to New York with her. We had a conversation around an event that we are in the process of planning, and we're going to let you guys know more about that probably later in the week. And it led us to a topic that I honestly, and I didn't even tell you this, I never thought that I would be talking about this topic, ever.
I don't think anybody thinks they're going to talk about this topic. I don't think it's a conversation that anybody has had on the norm with anybody, because it's actually, I think it's embarrassing, quite frankly. It is
embarrassing.
So,
and I think it's also so ingrained in us that we just turn a blind eye to that. And I know that I do this because we talked about it yesterday, and it didn't really hit me until this morning when I was doing my makeup, and I literally finished my eyeliner and I started tearing up thinking about what we were going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And then I called her and I said, please snap some sense into me because I'm having a meltdown right now.
And I said, if you're having that meltdown, it just tells me how passionate you really feel about this topic.
Yes. And without further ado, the topic of today's ClassyGlam episode is going to be colorism in the Indian community.
Boom.
What colorism means, and this is what we talked about yesterday during our meeting, is it's stereotyping people based on the color of their skin. And it's something that I think a lot of us are used to, and a lot of us have kind of grown with over the years, and we don't really even pay attention to it. I know that because I have heard comments from people many, many times. And with my personality, when I hear comments from people and I know that it's something that I can't change, I immediately just discard it and, push it out of my mind. But skin tone, or the color of my skin, is one of those things that, you don't forget about that. Even if you do put it to the back of your mind and you say, this isn't going to bother me, I'm not going to let this ruin my day, it still sticks with you. And I think that's part of the reason why I had a little bit of a meltdown this morning, was because I realized that, wow, this stuck with me a lot longer than I ever imagined. I'm 30 years old, and this is something that I've lived with my entire life.
But think about how it's subconsciously ingrained in you, because it's not something we go around thinking about every day, right? There's probably an incident that happens, or a comment that's made, or an association with something that comes up that you're reminded of your skin tone about. Just a little bit of background. We had a meeting yesterday about something very interesting coming up within the next couple months, and it brought us to this topic. And it started broad. It started with the beauty industry, and it started with talking about makeup and what brands we prefer and why, and shades available and all sorts of things. And we kind of came to this realization that unfortunately not every brand caters to every skin tone. And how sad is that, you guys?
It's really sad.
How sad is it?
In the 21st century, where you would think that because beauty is so big, and you take a look at Instagram, right? Beauty's everywhere. There's millions of beauty bloggers all talking about different brands. So you would think that beauty would be very, very innovative. It's actually quite the opposite. We were talking about this yesterday. There are certain cosmetics brands that we immediately turn a blind eye to because they don't carry our shades.
We just know they don't.
I don't wear Chanel. I don't wear Dior because they don't make my shades. I don't even look at them for foundation.
Right.
I just completely ignore them.
And it's really sad because we're not saying their products aren't great. Because for the people they are catering to, the products are wonderful.
Yes, absolutely.
But why is it a limited audience? that's getting catered to. And I think it's really upsetting because you guys, it may seem like, oh, no big deal. So if you don't buy Chanel, you'll buy Estee Lauder, or you'll buy, anything else. You'll buy something drugstore, or you'll buy, what else do I wear? NARS, things like that. But why can't I walk to Chanel, or why can't I walk to Dior, or why can't I go to something else and just say, and just have it available to me? And this is really sad because contrary to Christina, I actually grew up with a lot of these comments too. I'm North Indian, and North Indians typically are known to be more fair skinned than South Indians. And it's a very, she's South Indian.
Just so that you guys have some context.
Yes. And clearly we're not that different in skin tone, right? So if you look at us in camera, you can tell there's not a huge difference between
That's why I think that's really interesting, that we come from two different parts of India where, so for South India, it's very common to be dark, right? Very, very dark. And the ones that are fair are, oh my gosh, you're like a unicorn because you're fair,
Yes.
So it's even more, what am I trying to say? It's even more accentuated in the South, you know? So if you're fair, you are a
you've
god.
made it. Yes.
You've made it, and everyone else, you just made all of them look terrible.
I've gotten so many comments when people ask me where I'm from. Indians. We're going to specify when we speak to the Indian community. We know this is not limited to the Indian community because we have friends outside of our community who have said that colorism is a big thing in their community too. Now, think about Indians, and how many times have you heard a compliment start with, wow, she's so fair, she's so beautiful? How many women or mothers or aunts or friends have you heard say that? She's so fair, she's so beautiful. Not saying she's not. Well, we're not disregarding
not at all
any skin tone here, you guys. We're not saying that you're fair so you're less beautiful or more beautiful or whatnot. All we're trying to say is that why is one skin tone regarded higher than the other? When I tell people, when they ask me where I'm from in India, and I tell them I'm from Delhi and Punjabi, I always get, well, you don't look Punjabi, whatever that means, whatever you don't look Punjabi means. Or, oh, really? You're from North India, aren't they more fair? And it's really interesting to me that is kind of a known concept, that it's actually a question that's posed to me, that, oh, aren't North Indians more fair? Or you don't look Punjabi. Why? Because I'm dusky, and I've been dusky my whole life. I was a very fair baby. I was too. When I was a baby child, which is like odd. But when you're a child, you may hear things, but you don't really understand what to make of them. Like, I loved playing in the sun. Right. I loved playing outside. I'm a normal kid, I'm gonna run around, I'm gonna scrape my knees and all that stuff. But I still remember hearing comments from various people in my family, various people in the community that would say, after I would come back from swimming, oh, you got so dark. And the way they would say it is, it was negative. It wasn't meant to be anything but negative. And as a child, you might not really pick up on that, but at the same time, you can understand the tone when people say that to you. Right. And think about it between siblings. Think about the siblings who are compared, one that's more fair than the other, and they're getting the attention or the compliments or that liking that's being sent towards them because of their skin tone. My brother is a very fair person. I'm dusky, I'm not fair. And it's so funny to me because I have cousins who are very fair and not so fair, who are like me. And it's an immediate response. Oh, she's so fair, she's so beautiful. And I think the issue that, luckily, and there's two sides to this, guys. Some people can deal with it. Some people grow up and they just kind of like, whatever, they wash it off their shoulders. It's not a big deal to them. And they roll with it. I was one of those people. You couldn't tell me my skin was light, dark, purple, orange, blue. I could not care less what people have to say about my skin tone, and I always embraced it. I didn't skip a vacation in Cabo or Hawaii or Mauritius, where my honeymoon was, because I was going to be in the sun. That just wasn't even an option for me. It wasn't even a thought that I had. And I remember coming back from these type of vacations and hearing things like Christina would hear, "You're so tan," or "You got so dark." And my response was always like, right, now I can wear that coral lipstick I wanted to wear because I like it better when my skin is tanned.
It's amazing.
And that was my response. But
I love it.
Not everybody grows up like that.
No, I definitely did not grow up like that. So I admire your strength and your courage so much. Thank you. Such an inspiration to me.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry. Don't do that.
Just kind of going off of, kind of what you said. I remember growing up, my middle sister is the darkest in my family out of all three girls. So it's me, my middle sister, and then my youngest. And I remember growing up, when I would pick on her, my middle sister, my mom would say, stop picking on her, she's dark. My mom said that to me.
So you have to be kinder to someone because they're dark.
Yeah. And I said, why is that a reason for me to be nicer to her? I mean, I get it. Like, maybe I should be a better older sister, but to not pick on her because of the color of her skin, I mean, you're already instilling that in my head that I should be treating someone who's who's maybe a little bit darker than me different.
Right.
And I think that's all something that's so subconscious. And I think it's so baked into our culture and our community that we just don't see it. And we don't talk about it. Like what we were saying, it's something that we just don't ever talk about.
We don't even, unfortunately, it's dismissed because we're used to hearing it. And it's not dismissed because you don't believe it or because it's not important. It's just you're used to hearing it. So it's the norm. How sad is that? It is a norm to be told that you're dark, so you're not as beautiful.
Yeah,
think about that.
It is a norm.
It is a norm. Think about the ads that run in India, these fairness creams like Fair and Lovely. I remember being in India and hearing comments like Fair and Lovely and Dark and Ugly. Who says things like that? No, I'm not kidding. And for me, it's an uncomprehendable topic for me, because even when my kids were born and people would come visit, they were both born very fair, and I got comments like, "Oh my God, they're so fair," almost like it was a surprise because I'm not. Like, I'm dusky, my husband's fairly fair, I guess you would say. But it was coming as like a compliment, like, "Oh my God, your kids are so fair." And of course you say thank you, but in my mind, I'm like, I know where you're saying that. Yeah. I know where that's coming from. Mm-hmm. And when my daughter grows up and ends up with my skin tone, or my son ends up with a tan, is he not going to be as cute to you anymore? Or are you going to make those comments like, "Oh, he's more fair than she is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's cuter because of that, or he's more handsome." I don't want that comparison. I've actually had this conversation in my family with various people, and I've actually said to them, please do not talk about skin tone. I refuse to have the discussion over who's fair and who's dark and who's dusky, and if they do or do not look good because of it, because it is not of any importance. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with how beautiful you are as a person. And it is sad that is ingrained in our culture, and that we, especially women, have to live with it. Mm-hmm. And it's sad that the makeup industry and the beauty industry sort of defines it.
It does.
When you can't go to a counter and find your foundation tone, you're being sent a message.
You are totally being sent a message. And we talked about this yesterday during our meeting with Camilla. When Fenty Beauty was launched, girls were lining up outside Sephora crying because literally. They finally, oh my God, I'm gonna start crying.
Don't do that.
Because they finally had a skin color, what am I trying to say? A foundation shade for them. And I just thought, I was about to cry yesterday too. I just thought that's I don't even know what that feels like. I don't know what that feels like, to go to the store, never find your shade, and then to walk in and finally one day, it's like my prayers have been answered. I mean, I don't know. I can't understand that feeling. But I mean, I hope that more companies like Fenty take a stance and say, we are going to encompass everyone. And for those of you that might not follow Deepika Mutiala on Instagram, she's starting this new movement called Live Tinted. And what she basically talks about is how we need to encompass all skin tones, all skin types in the beauty industry. And what's really interesting is that the beauty industry is so behind that we haven't even taken into account biracial skin tones.
Not at all.
What's going to happen when we take those into account?
That's which are actually considered, but they're actually considered one of the most beautiful skin tones.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that when two races get together, how beautiful that baby is going to be? Or when a biracial couple is expecting, the immediate response is, oh my God, that baby's going to be so cute. Mm-hmm. Automatically.
Yeah. And so, there's nothing for them. Nothing.
Sad.
It's very, very sad. And going off of, I know you were sharing your personal story and it was very different from mine. I do want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I heard growing up. And when I was in school, when I was in college, I was actually friends with these people. They told me, or they would joke about it and they would say, "Oh, Christina, you're so dark." And then I thought, well, they're my friends.
Like, that's an appropriate comment to make.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, these are my friends. I know they don't mean any harm, because my initial thought, it doesn't matter who you are. I'm always going to try to assume the best in people. And I'm thinking, okay, it must just be a joke. But now looking back on it, if somebody said that to me now, I'd say, what is that a problem for you? I mean, that is completely inappropriate. But that example alone just makes me think, how often do people live their lives listening to these comments and then just brushing it off and thinking, well, they didn't mean anything by it. They're just saying it. That happens all the time. All the time. When
they don't even know how they're affecting you when they say it.
Yeah.
They've made a passing comment about something they have no right to comment on.
Exactly.
At all.
What pisses me off the most is that comment means nothing to them, but that could really break a person.
It really can.
You know, that comment, maybe you just said it on a whim and you didn't even think about it, but those words are going to have such an impact on that person's life. I mean, we are grown adults and we're talking about this issue that affects everybody from the moment you are brought into this world when you are a baby and people are making comments. Oh, your baby's so fair. Oh, your baby's so dark. Mm-hmm. From that moment all the way into their adulthood, that is going to go with them.
As a teenager, to your point, as a teenager, I remember being told I should do yogurt masks.
I was told that too.
Because it'll help lighten your skin. Yeah. I was brought those Fair and Lovely creams and bleaches from India because it would help lighten my skin. Mm. And this just happened this year. Last year, I was in India last year, and after like a little while there, I got a facial or something, right? And they're pretty intense there, so they do these like facial masks and everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember the gal puts on something called a tan mask on me, okay? And I asked her, I said, what is it? What's a tan mask? What does this do? She goes, it makes you more fair. And I told her, take it off. In the middle of my facial, I said, take it off. And she said, why? I said, because I didn't ask you to make me more fair. I don't have a problem with the way I look. So take it off. And she had to take the mask off me. It probably wouldn't have worked. Maybe it would have just cleaned up my skin or made me look brighter or whatever. But the fact that the intent was to make me more fair and that she would have assumed that that's what I wanted, no, I had her take it off. I was 35 years old, and someone assumes that that's what I would want. Yeah.
Just like makes me sick. No,
I want to read all the comments. We have a lot of people commenting.
Oh, wow. Like that just really, really moved me.
I'm sorry. We're going to read a couple comments here.
We want us to read some. Yeah, and it looks like we've got a few over here too.
So Sanyala said, the first thing almost everyone did in India, they said after seeing my baby for the first time was, how is he dark? Who's dark in the family? A baby. An innocent child. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Sanyala. And I really hope that you had a good response for them. I really hope your response was something like, well, he's beautiful. Karen says, oh my Lord, my life, I hate my skin color. I've always wished I was lighter. And now my daughter is darker and my son, someone said, and darker than my son. And someone said she has dark skin like her mom. Karen, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm sorry to you. I'm going to say embrace it. And I'm going to tell you to stop hating your skin tone. And I'm going to start telling you to tell people to shut up.
Yeah.
I know, you guys, it's so hard because we as women have all gone through this. This is a topic nobody talks about. And you know what's sad? You know who's saying it to us? Our moms, our aunts, our uncles, our immediate cousins, our closest friends.
The people closest
to us. The people closest to us are instilling those things in our head. And here's the thing. I don't blame them either because it is what culture taught them. Mm-hmm. It was taught to them that if they were more fair, they were prettier. That if they saw a fairer person on the street, that person was automatically considered beautiful. So I'm not going to completely hate on the people who've done this to us either because it's really society that's instilled into them. A lot of it is
society, yeah, because it's not just in the Indian community or any other brown community. You know, it happens in a lot of communities. You were telling me earlier today that about Thailand, that there were pictures of these girls in Thailand and they were white.
They were like this. It was unnaturally
white. They were like
white.
our shirts, like they were white. And who looks like that? Nobody looks like that.
Unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic. They did not even have, a girlfriend of mine told me this. She's probably my skin tone, maybe a tone lighter. And she says to me, just this year, she goes, when I was in Thailand, I couldn't buy foundation there because they said I was too dark. They didn't carry my skin tone. In Thailand. So this is not just an Indian problem. We realize that.
This is a worldwide problem.
But we're speaking specifically from our experience, so we can only comment on and address the Indian community, because that's what we've faced.
You want to know one of the most hurtful comments I've ever heard in my life? Probably one of the most hurtful comments I've ever heard. My former father-in-law said, "She's too dark for my son." This was before I got married.
And I don't even know why that's
I don't know why that's a deal breaker for you.
No, why is it a topic of conversation?
Yeah.
Deal breaker, topic of conversation, something to, and you know what's sad? I'm not even surprised. How many times have you guys seen matrimonial ads that say, looking for a tall, thin, fair girl?
Yeah.
How many Indian mothers have put that ad out there for their sons? Tall, thin, fair. That is the ideal.
Yeah. It's been the ideal for many, many years. And before we went live today, we were telling each other, this is the whole reason why we decided to do this show, was to talk about things that we don't talk about, that our community doesn't talk about.
That you face and you face it and it eats you up inside.
Yeah.
Because it is happening to other people, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening in other households.
Mm-hmm.
And we want you to know that we have to change it.
Yes.
Karen, don't ever tell your daughter that. And if anybody ever tells your daughter that she's dark or darker than her brother, you step in and tell them, and they're beautiful. And they both have individual personalities and looks, and they're both gorgeous, and not one is better than the other.
Yes.
That's the response. That's the response I've given. Shilpa over here said, there were comments like, don't go swimming because you'll get dark. Let me not enjoy a really great part of life because it's going to darken my skin tone.
So I can't go to the beach.
So I can't go to the beach.
Swimming. I can't shop at an outdoor mall. I can't have a picnic. What else am I not allowed to do?
Because if I get dark, I'm not going to be beautiful anymore.
Yeah. I can't have my bachelorette in Miami. I have to go have it in Alaska so that I don't tan. I mean, are we serious right now?
And are we really adhering to those norms, you guys?
Yeah. We are living in the 21st century. This is such an archaic, outdated way of thinking. It absolutely needs to change. And the conversation starts now.
Right now.
We are starting this conversation. I thought we were going to talk about this hashtag later in the video, but I realized that it's
I want you to stop it for 1 second before you do. Only because it was a really good comment here, and what you're going to say is really important, so I don't want it to get lost in there. There are a couple comments I wanted to read. Ritu said, have you realized this? The most beautiful person starts to look ugly if their heart is ugly. Similarly, the person who is considered ugly by society, if they have a snacking personality and a beautiful heart, it starts growing in you and actually looks so beautiful. And that's
preach, girl.
That's
preach, girl.
Exactly the truth. Because I know some very, very physically beautiful women who I can't stand to look at.
Yeah.
I cannot stand to look at. And I know some people, like Ritu saying, whose society would not typically consider beautiful, who are probably some of the best people I've met. Not everyone. Unfortunately, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know this model's name. I don't remember her name, but she's from Sudan, and she's actually the darkest model in the world. Okay, and she's made quite a living and quite a statement by being a model. And this is how sad it is. She was in an Uber, and her Uber driver said, have you ever considered bleaching your skin? An Uber driver had the audacity to tell this model she should bleach her skin.
Who is this Uber driver?
Who are these people? It's not just the Uber driver. Who are these people?
Why do they feel so inclined to share their, in my honest opinion, their worthless opinion? It's like, I don't know you. You have nothing to do with my life. Why do you feel like it's your job? Like, why do you feel like you have the audacity to tell me this?
Priya says, Shikha, remember how we discussed this way back when? My experience is similar to Christina's. What I have to say, and this is what I'm going to teach my daughter, this is the message that I give to all my friends, this is what I say to Christina when she gets emotional like this, it's what I fight back to all my aunts, uncles, cousins, anybody who has something to say, is it's none of your business what my skin tone looks like.
I love it.
It's none of your business. I don't care what you think, and I really don't. I'm not saying it to be strong. I'm not saying it to make you strong. I, in my heart, really am not affected by people who tell me my skin tone is not up to par. I was affected when people used to make fun of my weight or when I was heavier. We've had that conversation. We've had that show. So I'm not going to say I'm super strong and I'm not affected by things. But skin tone, I think I have fought this war from the beginning. I have never given in, and I will not let my daughter give in. I've seen my cousins, my siblings, my friends give in. I've seen them go out in umbrellas when there's the sun out. I've seen them wear full sleeves while they're driving because they don't want their arms to get dark. I've seen things like that. And there was a time I was rolling my eyes when it was happening because I used to think it was so absurd. But if I come back, absurd. It's absurd. But if you think about the root as to why it's happening, it makes sense. And it's very sad. Yeah. So I can understand why it was being done, but we're asking you to stop doing it. We're asking you to tell them.
Now the hashtag. Tell them. Before the hashtag, you reminded me of something else that we talked about yesterday. So what now? How do we embrace our skin? How do we, here's the hashtag, own our skin. Own your skin. How do you own your skin?
Write it down, ladies.
Write it down. Look in the mirror. Be really honest with yourself. If you look at yourself, everything about you, not just the way you look at what's inside. What do you do? What gets you up in the morning? What makes you feel beautiful? Because once you tap into that confidence, I promise you, nothing is going to stand in your way. And once you radiate that confidence, everyone else will see that.
Because it's the energy you're producing.
It is the energy. Because if you feel that, oh, I'm dark, or, oh, I'm not attractive because I'm dark, that's going to show. It's going to show all over your face. It's going to show in your body language. But if you own your skin, that is one step in the right direction that we can take to changing this old school mentality.
You are literally servicing society. You're literally servicing every little innocent baby, child, little girl, little boy you see running in that playground having a good time. Mm-hmm. When you see the mom next to you tell their son to get out of the sun because they're going to get dark, or tell their daughter not to play there because they're going to get dark, step in.
Yeah.
And let them know why it's not okay to say it.
Because it needs to start somewhere. And once one person makes that stance, it's a ripple effect.
Tell them to own their skin.
Own your skin.
Absolutely. And that hashtag, that saying, it has so much more to do with just skin tone, but that's what we're starting today. We're starting with own your tone, own your skin color, own who you are. Don't worry about who's more fair or who's darker. You know, think about it this way. Some of the most beautiful women in the world, Aishwarya Rai, is not considered fair. She was once known as the most beautiful woman in the world. 4 Indian Miss World and Miss Universe, Aishwarya Rai, Priyanka Chopra, Lara Dutta, Sushmita Sen, none of them are considered fair women. And they made it to Miss Universe and Miss World. Mm-hmm. Okay? Some of the fairest people in society spray tan to look like this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times people have come up and said, oh my God, you have such beautiful skin, who are non-Indian. Yes. By the way, who are non-Indian and have come up and said, wow, we'd love to be your skin tone, or you have such gorgeous skin. And you know what? I absolutely do. And I'm really proud of it. And I have no problem with what my skin tone is, how big or small my eyes are, if I have a crooked lip or if I have a double chin. Like, it's who I am, and I'm owning my skin. And that's what you need to do.
And I think that's something that definitely I can learn from you, that I have learned from you. And that I think we can all learn from Shikha's example, is to own your skin, be confident in it. It's you. It's what makes you you. Why would you bother going out looking like everybody else? Why would you want to act like everyone else? That's not the point. You want to own yourself, own your personality, own your confidence, own your skin. We're starting that movement today. And to celebrate that, we would love for all of you guys that tuned in today, and of course if you're tuning in later, to
watching this replay, which we really hope you enjoy.
Yes. To take a selfie of yourself. Take a selfie of what you believe is beautiful. And then tag ClassDish and Wham Bam Glam 247 and use the hashtag own your skin.
Start your movement, guys. It starts with you.
It starts with you.
This is your call to action. This is what you need to do. take a selfie in wherever and however you feel beautiful. Tag Clastige, myself, Wham Bam Glam 247, hashtag own your skin, and post it and let the world know how beautiful you are.
Yeah, it does not end here, but it starts here today.
Yes. On that note, we are going to say, have a wonderful Thursday. Have a fantastic St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy yourself this weekend. We are probably going to go have green beer soon, if not today. If not green beer, it's going to be beer today.
What are you doing for St. Patrick's Day?
I have a party. I told you last
week.
Oh,
that's right. Well, you want to know what I'm doing for St. Patrick's Day?
What are you doing?
I don't know.
You don't?
I'm going to be in LA this week.
You are! Oh my God, that's right! Oh, you guys, okay. Here is the perfect example of when you own your skin.
Yeah.
Listen to what happened.
So I went down to LA a few weeks ago, just a really random trip. I was just down there for a day. And the reason why I went down there was for a audition to be in a fashion show. And I knew that I was going out on a whim. I didn't even know if I was going to get it, but I found a cheap ticket and I thought, why not? So I went down to the audition and, it was all good. And then I hadn't heard from them. So I thought, oh, okay, it's okay. I didn't get it, but it was the experience. And the fact that I even had the guts to go out and do an audition. Yesterday, while I was having coffee with her, I got a text.
We clearly spend a lot of time together.
Obviously. I get a text from them saying, congratulations, you've been casted for Friday's show. I booked a plane ticket last night, and I'm going to be flying out tomorrow morning to walk in this fashion show tomorrow night.
And that's exactly what you deserve. It's exactly the energy you put out there. It's what you worked for, and you're beautiful, so you deserve it.
Thank you, honey. Yeah, so it's Social Fashion Week LA. So if you guys want to check that out, then check them out. But I'll be in that show. So Saturday, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be in LA for the day. So I don't know. Any of you guys in LA want to hang out, hit me up.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope we helped you guys on this show. We hope you took something away from it. We hope that you know that we can all relate, and this is it's a worldwide thing. So let's take a stance and let's do something about it.
This is a topic that is very close to both of us, just because
we're on two different spectrums.
We're on two different spectrums, but it still affected our lives in some way, shape, or form. And we both knew we're obviously not the only ones that have been affected by this. I can confidently say 100% of at least Indian women have been affected by this. Yeah. Everybody has heard some sort of comment of some form, regardless if you're dark, if you're fair, if you're somewhere in between. Everybody has heard something. So we both thought that this was really relevant. This was important for everyone to hear, everyone to know, but more importantly, important for us to start the conversation. So
that's right.
Yeah. Own your skin.
We'll
catch you guys next time.
See you soon. Stay classy and stay glamorous.
Stay classy, stay glamorous, and own your skin.
That's right.